What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Tuesday once again. Another episode of On the Clock. Fellas, we have made it to the episode 6, and I am still the only one with a over 500 record in locks of the week. As we get that started, why don't we flash that scoreboard up real fast. I am sitting with a 15-10-1 record. Dylan Vanderveen just under 500, and then Jordan Ziegler. That's probably your best week in quite some time, going 3-3, breaking dead even pretty much. Fellas, before we head into NCAA locks, any recap on the past week? Any bad beats other than,
Yeah, Kenny Pickett throwing 2 interceptions to the Jets.
3 interceptions to the Jets.
I count 2 because one was a Hail Mary. I don't really count that one.
That's true.
Okay.
That's pretty iffy.
I had a better week than Veen. That's all that really matters for me.
It's about time.
I didn't get last place, so I'm pretty excited. Breaking even is a massive win.
Was
for
it?
me.
Then the fact that the Detroit Lions literally cannot cover a single receiver on any team.
That was I never thought a 48-45 game would be in turn of Seattle and Detroit.
They made Geno
But there
Smith
we
look
are.
like Patrick Mahomes.
Geno Smith's had a good year. He's
So
5th in
far.
QBR this year.
But you would see a 48-45 game in a college setting, so let's head to an actual college setting. College locks of the week. Jordan, start us off. Who are you taking this week?
Yeah, I'm going to start with an over-under because I did pretty well on those last week, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, you're pretty broke, but we'll keep moving.
No, Texas at Oklahoma, the over is 65. The last 2 matchups between these two have both gone over 95 points, which is absolutely absurd. Texas is ranked 63rd in total defense. Oklahoma is ranked 109th. These are 2 very not good defensive teams. The Red River rivalry has really been the Red River shootout for the past few years. I feel like it's weird to say, but 65 is low for points when these 2 play each other. It's the first one in a while where none of them are ranked, which is a little bit weird to see. Does not matter. They're each going to score a lot of points. It's going to be fun to watch. So over 65, that's the first I got. Utah goes to UCLA, and probably the biggest Pac-12 game of the year so far.
Likely.
Yeah, so the spread is 3.5.
sure.
Both Utah has 1 loss, UCLA undefeated. UCLA is coming off a huge win against a ranked Washington team, so I'm taking them at 3.5. But more importantly, Dorian Robinson.
They almost blew that game, though. I mean, that game, 33-10?
No. UCLA was in control of that.
Yeah, if you actually
the whole game.
If you actually watch that game, you know they didn't almost blow that game.
Because I thought Washington was good.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I turned it off when it was 33-10. So,
I think
I saw the end of the score. I don't know if they scored a
UCLA
touchdown
put it
or
on
whatever
cruise
it is.
control.
Washington's still a
one of
good
those.
football team. They're still in the top 25. They had to go to the Rose Bowl, which was probably the most full it's been all year, which was still not that full.
UCLA's good. An undefeated football team.
UCLA's
They're a
good.
Team.
Dorian Robinson is a legitimate Heisman candidate. They have the 8th best offense in the nation. Utah lost a bad Florida team. I mean, it was in the swamp and it was week 1, but that Florida team is not good. So I think UCLA is going to win outright, but they're giving me the points, so I'm going to take them plus 3.5. Finally, Texas Tech at Oklahoma State, minus 10 for Oklahoma State. The number 7 team in the country against unranked Texas Tech, who lost by 9 to Kansas State last week, let me mind you.
I think Oklahoma State's really good.
Is favored
Absolutely.
by 10 points at home.
Spencer
that is
Sanders.
ridiculously low. Oklahoma State has the potential to win this game by 25 points. 10 points is so easy. This is easily the most confident I am about any college football game this week. The Cowboys are 20th in total offense. Like I said, they're ranked 7th in the nation. The favorites to win the Big 12 by a mile. Honestly, Oklahoma State has a really good chance at a college football playoff bid right now.
I agree with you.
Texas-
I think they're really good.
Texas Tech is like a borderline bowl team. And they're going into Stillwater. Not a chance. Give me Oklahoma State minus
I like that
10.
one.
Absolutely.
That's
All
what
right,
I
Dylan,
got.
give me your 3.
I'm gonna go over to Arkansas. I know they just fell out of the rankings, but Mississippi State, Arkansas, that over. Look, Arkansas still has a good offense. Mississippi State obviously has a good offense. That's how they're ranked 23 in the nation right now. So I'm not gonna get fooled by anything Arkansas isn't doing. Look, Arkansas gave up 49 points to the backup QB for Alabama last week. Okay, I mean they put it on cruise control in the 4th quarter with that backup. I mean, it's Alabama, and that shows how good Alabama really is. But come on, I mean, you got to have some sort of defense against a guy who hasn't really taken any first-team reps all season. So I'm not going to trust that Arkansas defense to hold Mississippi State, and I'm sure not going to trust Mississippi State's defense to hold off Arkansas. So I'm going to go with over on 62 there. Kentucky and South Carolina. I don't know why Kentucky's favored so low in this matchup because Kentucky just lost to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss showed how strong
Covered that spread though. Big Blue Nation. That's
Absolutely.
my wagon.
That showed how good Ole Miss's defense is this year,
agree with
forcing 2 turnovers at the end of the game against one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. I mean, that was really shocking to see Ole Miss do that, and that's one of the best teams I've seen in the recent years for Ole Miss. So, but they're playing South Carolina. I've bet against South Carolina twice this year. Look, 2-0, don't have a problem. Kentucky minus 10, absolutely.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
And then I had to take this one. I had to be the first one to do it. KU +7 against TCU.
No one has touched KU yet.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
It scares me.
5-0. You gotta do it. They're 5-0, 5-0. College game day, first time in Lawrence. Look, KU, the fans show up. You know it. Allen Fieldhouse basketball, one of the best teams in the nation in college basketball, and the fans show up. They're going to show up to this game. It's going to be loud there, and I think KU might take this one outright, but they're going to give me the point, so I'm going to take it +7.
You know what? I can't argue. Strike the iron while it's hot. KU, one of the hotter teams in the country right now. Obviously, they haven't lost a game.
They've got the story,
It makes sense
They've
to
got
take
the
them.
story.
It makes sense to take them. My 3 locks of the week, we're going to College Park, Maryland, where Purdue and Maryland are playing each other, and the over-under is 60 in a Big Ten game. No chance. No thank you. I think Purdue's defense is actually really good. They've showed up and showed out against Minnesota and got it done, held the top 25 team on the road to only 10 points. I think Purdue's defense is certainly good enough to keep them in that game and maybe even win it, but they're not scoring 60 points together. It's just not happening. Another on-the-clock wagon we seem to talk about every week is James Madison, and I think they cover a 10-point spread as they go to Arkansas State. I like James Madison. They had to deal with the rainy conditions. You can tell in the highlight clips, like you can't even see what's going on half the time. But they beat the crap out of Texas State in the rain at home. I really like James Madison. They seem like a wagon to us. We seems like someone picks them every week. So let's keep going. And then another personal team of mine that I've liked, I've been on them all year, NC State. I think they bounce back at home at night against Florida State. I'm not really sure if Florida State is good, but I guess we're going to find out, right? I like NC State at home at night. They bounce back. Give me their money line. It's sitting at like minus 155 right now. So give me that. I think those are my 3 for the week. I like those. Hopefully we stay on track. We keep our lead. But with the NFL season being 4 weeks in, fellas, we've got some teams that are kind of floating around the 2-win, like my Rams, the Bears, which we'll talk about later.
The Seahawks.
But our guys, Jackson Bezdek and Jack Vagar, have some win total updates for you guys after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back to On the Clock. Bez is back. I'm switching it up this week. No more props. Those are silly anyway. We don't like props.
No.
What we do like is some futures bets. I got my man Jack McGar here. Help me out with some NFL season over/under win totals. These are live odds, so they're a little bit different from the teams when they were coming into this season. Yep. We're gonna take a look right now. We got 4 teams each. Jack, start it off for me. What do we got right here?
Yeah, now that we're 4 weeks in, we can kind of see where a lot of these NFL teams are kind of headed, whether they're going to be a playoff team, either fringe playoff team, or if they're going to be kind of back of the pack. I think the Seahawks are definitely on that fringe playoff team. I think Geno Smith has looked great for the Seahawks, especially when we see Russell Wilson's production for the Broncos right now. I think Geno Smith has done pretty much anything and everything for the Seahawks that he could. That Lions win last week was very impressive. 48 points on offense. You can't really do anything when you're the Lions allowing 48. Really. I know they scored 45, but come on now. I think the Seahawks have actually an easy schedule, too. I think they beat the Saints this coming week. That puts them at 3 wins already. I think they could easily beat the Cardinals the next week after. Agreed. That puts them at 4. Then I think they win at home versus the Giants later in the season. Puts them at 5. I think they beat Carolina in week 11. That puts them at 6. That's already the over right there. their last week of the season, they play the Jets in New York, but it's the Jets. I think that puts them to 7 wins. I think they clear the over by at least a win or 2.
That could end up being a pretty interesting game for you coming up here. So for my first one, I got the Eagles over 12.5. The Eagles have a chance to do something pretty impressive. I'm not going to say 17-0, but 15-2, 16-1 is definitely in the cards, I would think.
They're a very good team.
I think they get over 12.5. So that means I was trying to find 5 losses for them in their schedule. I just can't do it. I just think they are so much better than everybody in the NFC. I think them being in the NFC East, they get a bunch of free games against the Giants and the Commanders, and then one at home against the Cowboys that they're probably going to win. They just have a lot of pretty easy wins coming up on their schedule. And I think at this point, they would honestly have to try to not even get to 13 wins. Next up for you?
Yeah, I think the Jets right now, they look good, but I don't think 6 wins is really reasonable for that team. I think right now, especially with Zach Wilson coming back in, I don't know if I can trust him right now. Him with that organization looks a little bit discombobulated. I think even Joe Flacco looked pretty good for the Jets. They actually might roll with him later in the season, but their season schedule is actually really tough. They play the Bills twice, they play the Dolphins twice, and they play the Patriots as well. I don't really see them getting more than 1 win in that whole entire division schedule. 5.5 wins seems a little generous, even with the under. I think the under hits by at least 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I think they're more of just kind of a fun story this year. Maybe next year we'll look at getting to the 6 wins.
Yeah.
For me, my first under, I've got the Chicago Bears under 6.5. How ridiculous would it be if the Bears would be 7-10? That would be absurd. Justin Fields is easily the worst statistical quarterback in the NFL. That's nothing to knock on him. I'm not trying to call him a bust, but right now he is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Roquan Smith's really cool. They actually have some playmakers on defense, but I just cannot see any way possible that they get over to 7 wins, especially having to play the Vikings and the Packers multiple times. That is just not going to work well for them.
Yeah, sadly, I am a Bears fan, but Justin Fields does not look good in the franchise. Yeah, I do understand. I don't think that's reasonable for them. The Bills over 13. I know 13 is a lot of wins. You had the Eagles at 12.5.
I got 12.5. It's a big number.
The Bills, I don't see losing more than 2 games all year on their schedule. They have 1 loss already with the Dolphins. That was really close. I mean, they could have easily won that, but that's a loss. I think the only other loss on their schedule is the Chiefs. That's a big rivalry right now, and I think Mahomes has the better of Josh Allen right now.
I would agree.
Even though Josh Allen's going to really want that game, I don't see them losing another game on the schedule. I think their schedule is really easy. Their division is decently easy, too. Josh Allen's looking for an MVP. Stephon Diggs looks really good, too. I really don't see them losing more than 2 games, let alone 4 games all the season.
Bills and the Eagles, they're the wagon right now. Here's mine, Cincinnati Bengals over 9.5. I'm not as confident as this one as the other 3, but the reason I'm going to take it is because I think this team actually has some winning DNA, and I think losing the Super Bowl last year, I think they came out a little flat, still kind of disappointed off that hangover.
Super Bowl hangover.
But now I think after beating the Dolphins, a team that has proven to be very good, I think the Bengals can string some wins together. They're in kind of a weird division. Nobody really knows about the Browns. We're still trying to figure out the Steelers. It's an awkward division. I think they can get to 10 wins. They do have to play the Ravens. But I like the rest of their schedule, and I think Joe Burrow, he wins at every level. He wins everywhere he goes. I think it's hard for me to believe that this Bengals team would be 9-8 this year after what we saw from them last year. And I think they just have too many weapons to not get to 10 wins.
I think you mentioned it. Their Super Bowl hangover definitely had them flat, but
100%.
Joe Burrow, you have to ride them. I mean, over 9.5, that's a good pick, honestly.
I like it.
Saints under 7.5. Now, I looked at this line a lot, and I think that 7.5 is a very generous over for the Saints. I think their under clears by a mile. Their schedule is really, really difficult. I honestly don't see a lot of wins coming from this team. Jameis Winston does not look very good at all.
Not been great.
Their defense is, of course, good as always. They have a lot of weapons on this team, but even guys like Alvin Kamara, I don't think they're utilizing
really
very well.
performed yet.
And honestly, when they do utilize them, they don't really perform. I don't see this offense or defense really taking them anywhere. I think they'll sneak out 1, 2, maybe 3. I'll be generous, maybe 3 wins. That 3 wins puts them at 4. They need to get to 8. Yeah,
I like that.
I will hammer that under 7.5.
So my last one, I got the Broncos under 9.5. They have looked so flat all year.
Yeah.
Not impressive on Sunday. There's no way they get to 10-7, especially in this division. The Chargers and Raiders haven't looked awesome either, but the Chiefs have looked awesome, and they have to play them twice. And even the Chargers and Raiders, I think they out-talent the Broncos.
And the Raiders just beat them once.
And they just beat them once. And losing Williams for the rest of the season. That's going to hurt them. Melvin Gordon is an absolute fumble machine. And Russ has not been Russ. He just hasn't been. Russ of old, I don't know where he's at. If he'd like to come out and play, that'd be great. But I don't think he's going to. So I really like this under 9.5 wins for the Broncos. So that'll wrap it up for both of us. Stay tuned for next week and after the break, where the boys are coming back with their NFL locks of the week.
National champions deserve a clean campus. Don't wait for other Jayhawks to pick up your mess. Keep the University of Kansas clean.
Welcome back to On the Clock. Look, a little bit of a rough week last week for me. NFL picks 0-3. Ugh.
Tough break.
Well, this is
Welcome
just
to
a
the
little bit
club.
tough, you know.
Not me.
Detroit can't cover anything. That's one. I mean, the Kenny Pickett throwing 2 picks. I'm not gonna talk about last week. That's in the past. So we're gonna talk about the upcoming week. I've actually got 3 over-unders for you guys this week for my NFL picks. I did not go with any spreads this week, any money lines or anything like that, keeping it simple, in my opinion. So I'm going to go over to Cincinnati for the first pick, Ravens-Bengals. Look, the Bengals secondary has been okay. I mean, they've been okay. Eli Apple's been okay. Like, they haven't been anything special. And the Ravens defense has basically been burnt toast outside of Marlon Humphrey. So Marlon Humphrey has one of the best ratings in the league right now, but outside of that, they are literally ranked almost dead last in every single passing category. So I'm going to take the over 48. Lamar Jackson's going to score some points on the Bengals, and the Bengals will definitely score some points with those 3 wide receivers on the Ravens secondary. So I don't have a problem with that going over 48 at all. The next one, I'm going to go over to Cleveland. Cleveland lost a tough one to Atlanta this week with the Chargers. Bounced back. I mean, look, the Chargers, they're a good offense. Like, Keenan Allen should be back next week. Mike Williams, obviously the deep threat. Austin Eckler, awesome in the receiving game, awesome rushing. So I don't think they have a problem scoring points. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's doing really half bad for the Browns right now. I mean, he's looked like a borderline starter in this league. He's definitely been better than Justin Fields. He definitely played better than Zach Wilson this week. And he sure was better than Mitch Trubisky before he got benched for Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, they honestly don't have a bad quarterback situation right there going in with Deshaun Watson obviously coming back after 11 games. But this week, the over, I don't think that's going to have a problem at over 48 either. Then the last one, I'm going to go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis' offense has not been good. Matt Ryan threw for over 300 yards last week, but that was the first time Matt Ryan even showed up this season. So, I mean, look, the Broncos, I don't even have to say what Russell Wilson's really looked like in that offense. I mean, it's been very, very disappointing.
It's been bad.
Like, it's been borderline awful. So, I mean, the under 43.5 points, I don't think that's going to have a problem. The Colts defense, top 5 in passing. Top 5, I mean, they're a top 5 defense right now, so I think they're going to shut down the Broncos, who have had a struggling offense, and I think the Broncos are going to do the same to the Colts.
I actually do like that under. That just feels like a game that's going to go under. My 3 of the week, let's go to the nation's capital. Let's take the Titans -2 at the Commanders. This Commanders team seems really kind of stuck in the mud to me, and this Titans team is really starting to get it going. Derrick Henry, finally. It's been a couple of weeks, but Derrick Henry is starting to get things rolling. Had a great week last week against the Colts. It was a rough start. They're starting to get moving. And I think once this Titans team starts to click, you'll see that team of old that's really good in the regular season. Playoffs, kind of a crapshoot, but we're not there yet. I think the Titans have been really good so far these last 2 weeks. Let's keep rolling with the Titans. I think they will cover a 2-point spread against the Commanders. Next, let's go back across the pond and back to the wagon, the New York Football Giants.
Goodness
let's do it
gracious.
again. I'm 3-0 picking the Giants on this show. They're 3-1 against the spread, so I left out the one loss. Didn't end up picking them that week. They're playing Green Bay. I think they are going to cover that 8-point spread, and there's a reason why. They've got that guy. Not Saquon Barkley. Yeah, that's Daniel Jones.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my
The best
no.
rushing attack in the NFL.
Oh.
You have to be kidding
Green
me.
Bay.
You did not say Daniel
22nd,
Jones.
22nd in the NFL in rushing defense are the Green Bay Packers. That's terrible.
That's
And I don't even
Daniel
need, you know
Jones.
what the best part is? I don't even need the Giants to win. I just need them to keep it within a possession. And I think they can do that.
I honestly think they
Let's
will do that,
go
but it's not because of
Giants.
Daniel
No, yeah,
Jones.
I
I'm telling
agree.
you,
I think
they are my wagon. You guys aren't
They
even
keep
allowed
it
to pick
close,
them
but
anymore.
not
That is
because
my
of
wagon.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, it's not. I agree
because
with you.
of
They're
good
going to keep it
coaching,
close.
good defense, and like Saquon Barkley.
You guys were like, this team's no fun.
They're doing-
This team's
they're
not
do- they're
fun.
doing it
This
in
team's
spite of
fun
Daniel Jones.
because they are good.
They're doing it
and
in
Daniel
spite of
Jones
Daniel
is such a
Jones.
wild card back there.
Oh my goodness.
You can't we can't.
You had to show a
argue.
video of him running because he can't throw the ball down
Well,
the field.
he is.
The only
He's been good. He's been good.
he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
If
for,
I
like-
told you the Giants would be 2-2 to start the NFL season, you would have been like, "What?
No, I would have believed that.
No way."
Yeah, 2-2 is not impressive. The
Look who
Seahawks
they've
are
played.
2-2 is impressive if you're the Giants, and I
Seahawks
think
are 2-2.
that they will
Look who
cover
they've
the spread
played,
again
though.
this week. Anyway, last one. Let's actually talk about a team that has a chance at winning a Super Bowl this year. That's the Los Angeles Chargers. They got back on track this week playing Houston. I think they looked actually really good. The defense, not so great, but they're playing the Browns. I think LA's got a good enough run defense to contain Chubb to not going superhuman like we've seen, in games previously. I think the Chargers will cover that 3-point spread. They are going to Cleveland, but I think this Chargers team, like the Titans, starting to click at the right time. I think the Chargers will cover that spread. Give me LA. Those are my 3 of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible to keep Nick Chubb from going superhuman.
That is true.
I mean,
It's been hard.
100% honest.
It's been hard.
But Justin.
They do got a good front, though. I mean,
Justin Herbert can keep the Chargers in a game even when Nick Chubb goes
Absolutely.
superhuman. So I like that as well. My 3 locks, NFL. I did pretty good last week, so we're going to try to keep the train rolling. First
how
off,
good is pretty good for you, Ziggy?
it's better than Euro for 3.
Okay, that's true. That's true. It is true.
But yeah, no, we have Eagles at Cardinals. I have Eagles -5. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now, in my opinion.
Agreeable.
They're the only undefeated team. Cardinals have been extremely disappointing this year, and in my opinion,
It's been
I agree
inconsistent.
with you, though.
they're just mediocre.
Yeah, they're
And
just
Their
just
defense,
so
their defense
average.
did look good against Carolina, but their
It- it-
offense
well,
is so
okay, against
stuck. They're stuck in the mud.
The key
too,
word
their
is
offenses.
against Carolina. I mean, that's
True.
not
They bottled up McCaffrey though. That's
You
you
know.
got to give them credit.
credit where credit's due. Anyway, the Eagles are probably going to win this game by 2 possessions, in my opinion.
Yep,
They're going to stay undefeated.
I like that one.
You just can't not ride the hot hand, and the Eagles are the hottest hand in the NFL right now. So
Fair enough.
going with them. We got Raiders at Chiefs, over 51. Chiefs have the 5th best offense in the league. Raiders have the 13th. The Chiefs scored 41 points on Sunday Night Football last week. 41 of their own points. The over is 51. None of these teams have a good defense. They both have really good offenses, even better passing QBs with like decent run games. This feels really low for me. Like a lot of people are like, oh, an over under 51 in an NFL game is not that low.
Divisional games, people
Divisional, yeah.
will stay away from division. You picked a divisional over too. You picked one too.
Well, we should
It's the
know,
Ravens and the Bengals.
We should know pretty
Have you
well.
seen the
It's
Ravens?
flying under
Have
to
you
me.
seen the Ravens
We,
defense?
we should know pretty well by this point. I won't stay away from anything. There's nothing off the table.
There's nothing off limits for Jordan. We have found that one out. That's been very apparent.
And that is a perfect segue into my final lock, which is the Bears money line against the Vikings. Plus 230
again.
odds. I picked Bears money line week 1 against the 49ers, and they won. Thank you very much. At plus 270 odds.
Don't worry, I
that
remember
play
that.
you just saw. That play that you just saw is the most exciting Chicago Bears offensive play through 4 weeks of football.
Here's the deal.
That's 240 minutes.
Here's
if I'm doing
the
my
deal.
Math right, not a math guy.
Here is the deal.
No, okay.
We're going low points, bad quarterback
one.
play,
You'll get that
bad
one.
quarterback play.
Whoa. Are you saying bad quarterback play for Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins?
Both,
Yes.
all of the
Yes.
above.
Dude, look.
all I have written down in my notes for this game is literally 2 words, and it's gut feeling. I have a gut feeling the Bears are going to win this game. Their defense keeps them in every single game that they play.
That is
Their running game does the same. And as long as Justin Fields just survives, they have more than a decent enough chance to go out and beat the Vikings, who honestly have looked way more mediocre this year than any of us thought they were going
Is
to be.
that game in Minnesota?
It is.
Never did I think that you would pick the 2-2 Chicago Bears to beat the 3-1 Minnesota Vikings at Minnesota.
Any given Sunday, baby.
That's true. That's true. And you are an undefeated man when picking the Chicago Bears on this show.
This is true.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't agree with that pick at all. Oh my.
What happened last time?
It's a-
You
I
just
know
said you
what
took
happened
the
last
Bears.
time. I'm not gonna say
fair.
something
You
as
took
brutal as I did
You took
last
the Bears
time.
on a first date. It was great. Now you're going
Went
back for
well.
a second date. Hopefully you don't get burnt. See what happens though.
Trying not to get stood up by the Bears.
Stood up by the Bears.
Playing something
They won't text back.
Playing something real special for our second date. So hopefully they come through.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in to On the Clock this week. This one was a fun one. I'm excited.
Yeah, it
Hopefully
was.
next week we're going to talk some playoff baseball finally. Feels like we're in October's in the air, fall's coming. It's been good. Football season's been great to us, but we think we should mix in a little bit of baseball. So you can definitely look forward to that next week. Thank you as always for tuning in On the Clock. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday. You know where to find us.